Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to The Wanderer's Guide to Esterra Concord podcast. Though it will seem as not the case to you, to me this is my third time attempting to record this. But it's fine. We're here. It's happening. So, this is episode 18, Winds of the World, Winter 2024 coverage part 2, going over cast down but not cast out, the situation in the the Steinvolt Mountains, as related in regards to Iron Valley Windholm and Wayland Bordevar. The second article is I've forgotten the word. Righteous in Belefe. Oh my word. Righteous in Belefe, going over 3 interesting religious significant situations. One in Lorona as relates to the Dendari religion, and other interesting foreign and religious significant things there. The second has to do with a non-Andashi spheric priest preaching in Nasafeza in dissent against the Concordian Church. And the third being the assassination of a notable Concordian Pathfinder commander, or the leader I suppose would be the word, responsible for a lot of work in Wayland and Bordevar, has assassinated, it would seem, possibly by either the Onyx aristocracy or, as the signs would point to, the herald of the Star Serpent of Stalia, known as the Fang of Inner Darkness. The final article we're going to go through is Great Empires Are Not Maintained by Timmidity. This article covers I believe, 5 different, 5 sub-articles, each with different options for the war chamber and indeed the greater war forces of the Concord to, go and deal with, including fronts we already have and new ones that could be started. Some in Andash, some in the Greenweald, some in Bordevar, more or less, some in the Iron Valley, and finally, of course, the big one, talking about Balag's Holdfast. Things to note right here at the top. The premium packs have been announced. They are different coloured badges, each denoting survival and victory after the broken year, and generally up to this point. There are various colours. They are, I believe, $20 each. Go have a look at Sam Bowden's post about it on the Concord larp Facebook group. Secondly, the Concord tickets across the board have reached now, I believe, their final tier. They're now at their most expensive. The player ticket, for example, or PC ticket, for example, is now $175. If you have not bought your ticket already, and you need to do so, you're now paying the absolute full price. If you have payment issues and such, anything to do with that, please reach out to concordplot@gmail.com or to Sam Bowden. Bowden, pretty sure it's Bowden. I never thought to ask, actually. The next thing to talk about is the unofficial Concord training that is happening at time of recording, just over a week from now. At time of recording, it is the 29th of February 2024. There is an unofficial Concord training happening on the 8th of March 2024, with arrival at 6 p.m. It is happening in Falcon, Western Australia. Please go see Sinclair Hughes's post about it on the unofficial WA LARP page on Facebook, LARP group, my apologies. Look for the most recent one. It, of course, will say March 8th as the date that it is happening. It is an unofficial training, so there will be no combat clearances. And by combat clearance, I, of course, mean player clearance, because it's not just combat anymore. It is now a whole it goes over everything. So there are no player clearances being done. There are no archery clearances happening as far as I am aware. It is purely a simple brief, probably a light introduction for new people looking to get into LARP, especially Concord. So you'll be able to fight there and sort of get an idea of what's going on. And then there will be a sanctioned tavern RP night after that. It is sanctioned, so it is official. In addition, you must have LARP West insurance and be registered under LARP West in order to, I believe, do the fighting. I believe that is the case. Again, details on Sinclair Hughes' post on the unofficial WA LARP Facebook group. Go have a look for that. Yeah. I'm running very much behind on Winds of the World article coverage. It's my own fault. However, Lon Deckening, or Deconing, again, not sure of the pronunciation, has been doing an excellent job with doing her own read-through of the Winds of the World and then releasing those readings on her YouTube channel. You can find a link for that on the Concord LARP Facebook group. Look for the post. You'll be able to find it easily enough. And there are also links to it on the Concord LARP Discord server. Yes, there is a Concord LARP Discord server. You can find a link to that on the Concord LARP Facebook group. If you are an Andashi player character currently, I have just recently dropped and launched the Andash Concord Discord server. You can find a link to that on the Concord LARP Discord server itself in the Andash Nations... under the Nations text channel category in Andash, the text channel Andash, you can find it there. Under Luke-Historian Dahab al-Murajil, you know what I mean when you see it. You can also find it in the Concord Andash Facebook group. Find it there. And yes, I am, of course, your wandering guide, Luke, ever and always here to cover the Concord things. There's been a bunch of changes, by the way, to elements of the wiki, a bunch of new information, very small amounts of mechanic changes, mostly just clarifications of things. 3 ceremonies have been, well, I say 3, 2 ceremonies have been updated. There is at least one entirely new ceremony that has not been done through the processes of the game, at least not the traditional ones. So go have a look. There are a couple of Anarch ceremonies that have been updated. There is an entirely new Lumos ceremony that has been added, being Unmask the Thrall, I believe. And then, of course, there are the 2 new ceremonies coming out as relates to the Headmaster research of the Schools of Magic, which we'll get to at a later article in a later episode. Yes. So, with that, I'm gonna get my phone up, and we're gonna start with cast down but not cast out news from the Steinvolt Mountains and the Boar's Head clan situation. Okay. As always, for these, my pass through for the Winds of the World this time around, I would encourage you to go again listen to Lon's coverage of it, or failing that, go read the Winds of the World articles yourselves. They are really good documents. They are all super well written. They're all very, very interesting. I enjoy them. I always enjoy them. It's hard not to, because I like good writing. So cast down but not cast out, as I say, is linking to the sorry, phone is being a bit of a pain. Here we go. All right, so yeah, this is as relates to the Boar's Head clan, the Steinvolt Mountains, and their connection and relations currently with Windholm/Iron Valley, the Iron Valley as a realm, and of course the Kingdom of Bordevar and Wayland. So, to put it simply, things are bad. The Boar's Head have been absolutely going ham against Windholm and Wayland. Wayland's in comedically a very fun position to actually repel them, given the recent sieging by the Onyx aristocracy, and they're repelling. However, this has meant that the Boar's Head clan have been accelerating and escalating their attacks, including through strange means, the likes of which we are not entirely certain at this time. More information will likely be coming at the summit. And in the case of those in Windholm and the Iron Valley in general, the Boar's Head have taken to attacking Rumweld and the Rumweld Vastness Mithril Mine, and thusly there will be options to defend it. There will be 2 skirmishes going against the Boar's Head, one for Iron Valley and one for Bordevar at the coming summit. With their respective parties in controlling of those. There is also a downtime action available to Iron Valley. I do not believe there is one for Bordevar, but we'll have a look. So, first article. Fortresses of Ice and Iron. This is the general overview of the current situation. I've more or less laid it out already. Shit's bad. Essentially, it just lays out, we don't have a lot of information on the Boar's Head clan as they are, aside from they are dragon slayers. They do not like the Divine Spheres and the Church. Well, actually, I don't know if they have an opinion on the Church, but the Divine Spheres, not a fan. And they worship the Iron Valley old gods in their oldest form. We do not know what that means at present. It is possible by time of summit, we will know what that means, or at the very least, I, in-game, will know what that means, as I will be receiving a High Historian report at the beginning of the coming summit, detailing some stuff. I will talk more about that next episode when I cover We Are the Bloodglass Inheritors, where it mentions that. So, yeah, things are bad. We don't know a lot of information about the Boar's Head. We need to get more information. It lists various ways to do so, one of them being High Historian research, others being just through titles, general information, people that know, people that interacted with Boar's Head clan members, including the one that was captured and brought to the summit last year in the summer. But ultimately, yes, we don't have a lot of, we just don't have information, and, knowledge is power, and knowledge will enable us to make better decisions. The second sub-article, I have heard the words of Oaken Dak. This is the situation in Windholm. This does talk about the attacking of Rumweld and the Rumweld Vastness. There is the option to, well, I say the option, I mean opportunity, if anything, for the Iron Valley to have a skirmish with the Boar's Head clan. I believe being headed up by the champion. Let me check. Yeah, Champion of the Valley and the Deed Holder of the Rumweld Vastness Mithril Mine. More information will be coming at the summit. There are also decisions and information related to the Boar's Head clan or the Boar's Head clan in Windholm specifically, for the Senator of Windholm, the High Reeves Council, the Champion of the Valley, and the Deed Holder to the Rumweld Vastness. So check that out. Some investments in Rumweld and Heinzcraft will find that they have been damaged this past season. So if you have investments in Windholm in those two territories, it's a good chance it's damaged, so you have to get that sorted out. Iron Valley military investments may take the special actions this coming downtime, called Watch the Mountains. Doing so will help reduce the damage done to infrastructure dealt by the Boar's clan for the coming season. The champion of the valley will also have more information about this call to arms. Next up, we have the pack's strength prevails. The danger in Wayland. This is the Wayland side of things. To do with this, basically, it seems that the Iron Valley have attempted peace with the Boar's Head clan in the past, and then the other side of it is Bordavar's kind of been up in arms. This is ultimately not something I'm fully aware of, so those that have been involved will have more information. Please go seek those people out at trainings and other sanctioned events. Mostly just at sanctioned events, really, or at the summit. Yeah, this particular sub-article does talk about Wayland being in a much better defensive position, given that they have had to repel a titanic invasion and attacking force by the Onyx aristocracy. It just means, though, that the Boar's Head are much more resolved to fight harder and thusly escalate their efforts, bringing apparently strange things to bear. To do this, we are not currently aware, I believe. There are decisions and information relating to the Boar's Head clan in Wayland for the Senator of Wayland, the Ducal Council, the Sheriff of Arbington, the Duke of Heartsgrave, the Champion of the King, and the Royal Ranger. It's a lot of titles, but the Royal Ranger is a new one. The Royal Ranger is essentially the big, super important King's Ranger. King's Ranger being a Bordavar archetype. Please go read the title page for the Royal Ranger, as at this time, as I say, the 29th of Thursday, the 29th of February, my apologies, we do know what this is and what is required, how it is elected and such. Please go read that page on the titles listings on the Concord wiki. There will be an opportunity for Bordavar to face the Boar's Head clan in battle this coming summit in a skirmish. The party responsible for this will be the Royal Ranger. The more information, go see them, and they'll have more information will come. The Royal Ranger will be elected at this coming summit as well. And that's it for the Boar's Head clan stuff. Well, at least in this article, if there is more, it will come later. Yeah, this is an ongoing conflict and a situation that has been going on for a while now. It seems like this might be it might get worse before it gets better kind of dealio. Yeah, big decisions are going to have to get made. Information will be needed, and we'll have to just more or less see how things play out. I'm curious to see how Bordavar and Iron Valley are actually going to handle this on their respective sides, whether they're going to essentially approach it individually, themselves, separately, or if they're going to try and do some kind of united front of, really pushing for peace a lot harder, or just throwing caution to the wind. Well, not caution to the wind per se, that's maybe a bit insulting. Well, not even insulting, insensitive. And just deciding, nah, fuck it. Just gonna beat their ass and make it happen. So, we'll see. Nevertheless, good luck to Bordavar and Iron Valley with that one. Next up, we have got... where is it? I went right past it. Righteous in Belefe. Oop. I clicked the wrong thing like a fool. There it is. Righteous in Belefe. Right. So the first 3 lines of this greater article gives a brief description of the 3 different situations. The first is we have a dead Dendari in Lorodamir. We have a preacher in... We have a fancily dressed preacher in Nassafeza, in Mukaremba Vandash, preaching. And we have a quiet lakeside cabin. A man's... Oh, okay. Before I say this, content warning. This is a little graphic. In a quiet lakeside cabin, a man's corpse is strung up by its own entrails. His back festooned with... Oh, hell, wait. his back festooned with 100 iron barbs, I believe in the shape of stars. Each one hammered in with superhuman force. His uniform is a uniform discarded nearby with the symbol of a Pathfinder captain amongst it, and the symbol of a fang daubed onto the door of the cabin in blood. Sorry, and it does say his uniform discarded to the side, so the uniform is his. Yeah, there's some big questions. So, first up, hear our call. This is to do with that dead Dendari in Lorenemere. The short version of this one is a Dendari ship rolled up to Legend City in Lorenemere, meant to be basically just a cargo ship. I believe it's the Esmeralda, or it probably isn't Esmeralda actually. Emeraldus, sorry, not Esmeralda, Emeraldus. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. And, it also disgorged 3 specific passengers, 3 of them vanishing partially into Legend City. One of them popping up in the Light District of the Docklands, and started preaching in a tavern. In a pretty big way. I will now quote what this individual has said, as best as I can. O you rebels and seekers, hear me now, for I am a Triamonite, a flame that defies celestial strings. The Argonus calls, a cosmic crusade against tyrant gods. Have you felt shadows creep, their whispers planting doubt? Have you felt the celestial chains corrupt your lives? These are those tyrant gods that curse your lives. Embrace defiance. Join the Charisma. Wield knowledge against divine chains. Rise, for you will be the flame piercing the darkness. For 2,000 years we have held the line against the divine horde that would see us slaves. I am reaching out to you, comrades in destiny. Take my hand and carry the mantle of all humanity. Yeah, that's a lot. So the Argonus is sorry, I paused the music like a fool. Boom. Sorry about that. Yeah, the Argonus is the Dendari religion. There is precious little we actually know about this. There is hints to some stuff on the Dendari, the Dendar Nations page itself on the wiki. Go check that out if you're curious. But yeah, this is a straight up. It seems like this priest is calling the Eternals and Heralds tyrant gods, which might go over poorly with the church to a pretty big degree. It definitely went over poorly with Lorenemere, as when this self-styled Triamonite finished speaking, they took questions, quote-unquote questions, with anyone there in the tavern, then exited, and whilst exiting and walking away, they were pelted to death, with roof tiles. The body was then taken to a pile of rubble in the Red Brick District, I believe it's called, in the Lorenemere, and was left there for 2 days until the Sanitation Guild rolled up and retrieved the body. I love that Lorenemere has a Sanitation Guild. That is incredibly amusing to me, and I don't quite know why, but it's funny. This is obviously an international issue because a Dendari has been, murdered in Lorenemere, which is a crime. But, proselytizing a different religion other than the spheres within a Concord territory is also a crime to Concordians. So this is kind of an international issue. This article sub-article does raise the point that surely the Dendar know this. We have an ambassador to them, so hopefully the ambassador would have actually said something about this, and warned of it. The 2 other alleged Triamonites, it is believed to be as well, are still out there in Lorenemere, mainly, it seems, I would guess, in Legend City. There are, zealous crowds roaming around. the big question at the moment is what's going to be done by the church, by the Senate. Mostly by the church and by the Senate. The big things to note is that a bounty has been placed on these two Triamonites. Well, in general, not really on their heads per se, as done by a marshal of Lorenamer. Sorry, not marshal, magistrate, my apologies. Offering 15 locks for the individual captured alive, and confirmed, of course, by the marshal magistrate, and the 5 locks dead, again having been confirmed. There are options by the church to make some declarations. They can either basically speak out against these Triamonites being here and inflame and sort of make the populace of Lorenamer rise up and help to hunt them down, or they can be magnanimously accepted, basically, it seems, and to try and help with the international situation with the Dendari nations themselves. Big questions. Big issues. The Senate can also pay a fee, I believe, of 1 volt to pay for mercenaries to protect the magistrates from reprisal if indeed the individuals that are responsible for murdering this Triamonite is to be done. There will, of course, be, well, I would guess there would be repercussions for things, as it is, this is Lorenamer. This is a very tricky issue. It will have to be raised and motioned in the Senate. This won't just be a part of general business. This will have to be motioned. There are, of course, going to be information decisions to be made. Oh, hold on, let me find this actually properly so I can say. Here we go, yeah. There are decisions to be made in regards to this circumstance for the ambassador to the Dendar, the Concordian consular, senator of Lorenamer, the high priest of Stalia, and the high priest of Anarch. High priest of Stalia is an interesting point. I guess because it's knowledge-based, to do with the Triamonite, to do with their religion, so I guess that might be the reason. Also, like, searching and scrying and things, so that's a thing. The other thing to point out is the Concordian Consular. This is also a new title that we do have a title page for. Please go check out the Concord wiki for that. This is the Concordian Consular is elected by the Council of Six. This is essentially a part of basically how the Concordian Church does things at Summit has been shaken up a bit. The Council of Six is to do with that. There is an article about that we're going to cover in a later episode. Please feel free to read on about that. I believe it is I call the Council of Six if you want to read ahead for that one. Basically, the Concordian Consular is the religious arm of the Foreign Service for the Senate, and the wing of the Senate. This is the sort of that go between the church and the Foreign Service / Senate, in order to make sure the religious side of things is handled correctly. Yeah, it's a new title. I like it. I think it's interesting. It's not exactly what I expected, but I don't hate it in any way, shape, or form. I think it's pretty neat. But yeah, big decisions to be made here for a lot of big religious decisions, even just in this one article. It's big. We'll now go on to Troublemaker. This is the situation where a priest of Arcadian and Servatas in very fancy pure white robes and beautiful symbols of Arcadian and Servatas is preaching atop a ruined building in Nasafeza, Mokarem, and Ash. Is clearly not Nasafezan, and essentially speaking out against the Concordian Church for seemingly changing in doctrine and possibly even the whole breaking from the Ardabazan Church entirely. There are a lot of older people, older generations in Nasafeza and beyond that clearly agree to this agree with this to some degree. And there are other priests as well that are flocking around Mukurem, spreading word of this descent, and it's inciting a lot of introspection, a lot of conversation. Thusly, congregations. All congregations in Mukurem will be functioning 1 tier higher. So congrats to that. Congrats to you if you have a congregation and you're an Andashi in Mukurem. Boom, boom. It's good stuff. The thing to note that is raised by this particular priest is the idea of, with the church, the Concordian church, changing doctrine, and having their own strictures and tenets, being different from that of the Artipazani church, in that, citing this is sort of breaking unity. This is not. This is breaking unity. This is sort of not having everyone be united. Whereas, funnily enough, by this priest doing this and other priests doing the same, it kind of is actually sowing disunity and separation in and of itself. It's turning the church, trying to turn the followers against the church, which is kind of funny. So something to think about there. Also, this person also raises the thing of essentially come and join me, come and raise discontent and disliking against the Concordian Church, even wield weapons if you have to. It's basically inciting riots. To a want of a different term, or better term, I should say. There will be a conflux to do with this, to find this, and the name of it should also give a clue that they're definitely not Nessafessa. Let me find the name. Venetia Pontus, and her followers in Nessafessa. There'll be more information related to this in the Pathfinders report. It'll give a little more information. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is another spooky thing. There is a listing of what this Venetia Pontus has said. I've more or less summed it up, but it's it's pretty well. It's Servitasian in its way, but it's also not, because it is sowing disunity, and there's a lot of separation as well in her word choices. It's interesting. It's an interesting speech. Definitely. I mean, look, I think this is an Artipazani. I think all the priests that are doing this in Nessafessa and Mukurem are themselves Artipazani. It wouldn't surprise me if they were. We'll probably find out at the coming summit. Yeah. So the next up is the Blind Eye. This is the possible assassination. Well, I say possible. It is an assassination / murder, as it were, just done either by the Herald, the Fang of Inner Darkness, or this is done by the Onyx Aristocracy. That's pretty much it. That's the sum up of this one. Well, to a degree. The notable thing is this is a Pathfinder captain. It does give a name. I'm not going to repeat it here. You can go check that out yourself. It's not ultimately super important to the detail here. The main thing to note is this person has actually been pretty... this particular Pathfinder captain has been very, very good at their job for quite some time now. And the fact that if the Fang of Inner Darkness has killed them, to note, the Herald of the Star Serpent of Stalia, the Fang of Inner Darkness, their whole shtick is basically dogmatically hunting down and killing liars. They do not like lies. I don't know to what degree this is the case. If they're like, this Herald is like, I will hunt down and kill anyone that lies, full stop. Or if this is if it's a significant conspiracy, if it's a significant lie, if it is a significant sort of sort of sneakiness going on, perhaps then they care, or if it's not in a notable situation. We do have the big thing that went down in Wayland, we do have the big Onyx aristocracy attacking force, so perhaps because it was that big of a deal, a herald has rolled up and gone, nah, this person is a liar. Dead, there's something to do with it. This could also be, again, something done by the Onyx aristocracy. It's a little late, unless they're planning something else, but at the moment it's a really big question. This has had an effect where the Pathfinders for Wayland have been basically having to scramble to get things sorted in the absence of this captain, and as a result, all arcane wounds that are sort of, arcane wounds will have a greater chance of being inflicted and exacerbated for travels in around Bordevar through the Waystone. Not great. Arcane wounds, as a note, is a new wound type. There are 3 now. There are physical wounds seen to by surgeons, there are spiritual wounds seen to by priests, and there are arcane wounds seen to by someone that casts the Detect Magic spell, which is a new spell. Detect Magic may have other uses, but mainly the base one that we absolutely know of for certain is that it allows the caster to see an arcane wound card and read it, open it up and read it. Of course, this is a case that, again, it's still a support spell. You can't cast support spells on yourself, so you, I guess, technically can't, if you have an arcane wound, you can't cast Detect Magic and look at yourself, which is a little odd, but also not, I guess, just for the mechanics of the game, as it were. So for the people of Wayland, you, especially those of, I believe it's Everguard. I'm gonna have a quick look. Yeah, Everguard. Yep, the Everguard. So characters in the Everguard Duchy may either daub and sort of adorn themselves with the Fang in a hope to appease and sort of turn aside the Fang of Inner Darkness. For those that believe that this, the death of this Pathfinder captain was done through Onyx aristocracy, trickery, and assassination, may look at this as a sign of derision and scorn, because you're believing the lie, as it were. This one's kind of a tricky one. There are decisions to be made relevant to this concern for the High Priest of Stalia, the Spy Master of the Tyrant's Curse, and the Senator of Wayland. Again, please read these articles yourself to make sure you have the specific information, as, again, it is a case of, I'd rather you have the specific information. I'm just kind of lightly touching on different things, giving my opinion on different things, and sort of moving on from there. These 3 are real harsh. There's some brutal stuff going on, a lot of big introspective questions to ask, especially for the second one, to do with the priest in Nasafeza. I guess there is a question to be raised about, changing stuff. It's going to have a knock-on effect to a lot of other things. I guess this is just a result of that, of changing doctrine, changing strictures, changing tenets. By the way, go read those. Those are now on the Concord wiki. The new Concordian Church tenets, strictures, and things of that nature. Please go read those. They're actually super interesting. The differences between the Concordian Church's tenets and strictures and such versus the Artibazan churches is actually really interesting. At least I think so. So go check that out. So we're going to move on now to the final article for this episode. Is great empires are not maintained by timidity. Future conquests. It's more like future conquest options, personally. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options here. 5 different sub-articles, each with various options. The first is talking about and-dash options. The second is sort of Greenweald-ish options. I'm pretty sure they're in Greenwealds to do with the Zerkatal specifically. The third is to do with the Elsevier and stuff in the Iron Valley. The fourth is about Onyx aristocracy things, one in Royal Bordevar, one in Vassatal. And the fifth is specifically to do with Balag's Holdfast. So the first one being, you always knew the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it. This is opportunities in the west. This is to do with the 3 and-dashy options. The first is Calandry. The first is the Calandry. This is currently held by Elsevier. There will be no unique things to sort of deal with the situation. I will correct myself, sorry. The third casualty in the War of Gods doesn't just talk about Bolsterly and Iron Valley stuff, it does also mark Mercante Terra and Loronomir, as a note. I want to make sure I correct myself there. So you have Calandry, currently held by the Elsevier. There will be no unique situations with going to war there and sending forces there. They are just a small force that have been undamaged and untouched. The second is Corbarius. This is the land held by Majid al-Majid, the trade principality of Apravano. We currently have a non-aggression pact, I believe, with them that has been ratified through treaty by the ambassador of the trade principality of Apravano, which will be re-elected at this coming summit. It was put forward by Ash Alandash of Andash, obviously. Yes, the treaty ratification did happen and pass through the Senate at the previous summit, so that is the case. It does cite that forces will need to be moved by fleet to and naval investments and such to Corbarius, and it will likely be very dangerous and bloody war. It does also cite that unless a declaration of war and that essentially going through the bureaucracy of things, if Corbarius is to be attacked by the Concord, this basically needs to be approved by the Senate and put through the bureaucracy. Otherwise, there's going to be crimes committed, which is kind of funny in its own weird way. The third option, as related to Andash, is the Guardian. This is the island that was ceded to specifically the Golden Fleet, commanded by Ophelia Diablos, formerly of the Twin Blade Confederacy, now dissolved. They're basically, as part of the treaty we had with them, and still have with them technically, they got given the Guardian. The Golden Fleet has basically buggered off a while ago, and has not been seen. We have yet to hear word of them since, at least as of yet. So the Guardian is right for the taking. Holding it may be a different question, but it can be taken. Again, it will require sending armies on fleets and naval investments and all that kind of thing to get them there, but it is doable. Of these three, I'm a little biased as an Andash player. Calandry would be fine, because we're already at war with the Elsevier anyway. The worry is this is an Elsevier force untouched, so we don't really, they're going in fresh, so it's a little tricky, but I reckon that's the most neutral of the three. Corbarius, I would love to go fight Majid or Majid and just kill him, have him dead, have him gone. But again, there's greater issues with that one. The Guardian, I think, is the most is the middle of these three options, honestly. I think taking the Guardian would be fine. The fact that we gave the Golden Fleet and Ashy Land, considering they've been raiding us for a very long time, is kind of insane, and still is to me, but so but I'll leave that where it is. So yeah, I think Calandry is the most neutral. I would prefer to do the Guardian, but go get the Guardian, and going for Corvarius, while I'd love to, probably not tenable at this time. There will be an opportunity, however, to engage the trade principality of Aprivano as a strategic conflux for the coming Senate. It will require... a lot of words going on here. So, there will be an opportunity to face the trade principality, the forces of the trade principality of Aprivano in a strategic conflux at the coming summit. A declaration of war will need to be passed through the Senate, or, you know, less 100 Concordians be considered criminals by say strange set of circumstances, which is again kind of funny. So now we have who knows what words you have spoken into the darkness. Things to note with this one. This cites a couple of different things. It cites that Sister Oak, this is all to do with the Zerkatal war tribes. The Zerkatal have gained... Sister Oak has gotten another army. Brother Ash is still doing his weird and spooky shit in the Greenweald. And we have a new member of leadership amongst the Zerkatal, being Sister Alda. We know literally nothing about this person. We have no idea what is going on. And a big thing to note, Thorn is not mentioned here at all. There's no mention of this individual whatsoever. It does make note that there is a piece of land here that if it was a region, if it was taken, there'd be a few different realms that could have a claim to it. The big thing to note, however, the big scary thing to note, is it does make note that the armistice with the Zerkatal that we had was not official. We have no embassy to the Zerkatal, thusly no ambassador to put through a treaty. It was just an agreement put forward by the, I believe, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs and Thorn himself, done a summit or two ago. Yeah, so tricky stuff. But yeah, there's no special requirements for any of the conflicts here, thankfully. The big thing to note, a year has passed and Zerkatal haven't done anything. Like, they've kept to theirs, we've kept to ours, so it's a little weird, you know, insert Tim Allen noise, so, you know. Alright, the third casualty in the War of Gods. Opportunities in the south. So we have the Bolsterly situation. We have the Marlin having upped and fucked off, as I discussed in the, there are no kings here. But instead we have the remnants of the Elsevier there in Bolsterly. I believe it's Belefe... Belefe Feltari, whatever. It has no special requirements. If an army were to invade, it would actually conquer a lot of land and control a lot of land very quickly. They will have to face Iron Morgan and the Baylite Kings, of course, and whatever's left of the Elsevier there. There is an opportunity to engage the Elsevier in a strategic conflux this summit coming. There is also an opportunity to go to Mercante Terra and go attack the shark, who is damaged for some reason. We don't know how or why, or at least if it is known, then information is not currently known to me. So it would have to be found. But yeah, Mercante Terra is a really big stretch of land between Lorenomir and Barbariano. It does sit as a very juicy option for assisting with the economic situation and the financial standing of the Concord itself. It also holds could hold a lot of interesting information about a few different things, mentioning of temples to old gods, now very much abandoned. Of these two options of Belefe Feltari and Mercante Terra, I would go Mercante Terra. Belefe L3 has its own complications. Again, you have the Baleite Kings, or King of the Bales, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, I would say Mercante Terra personally. Especially if you can get the shark dead and dealt with like permanently, that would be kind of great. And also, we might be able to learn what the fuck is going on with the shark, because that's the shark damaged for some reason, we don't know why, and that's also the Marlin, the force, the hive mind of the Marlin, also going weird and doing weird shit, so we don't know exactly what's going on. If heroism... Okay, what is the wording? Because the wording is very specific. If heroism be confined to brutal and ferocious valor. Opportunities in the East. These are the two sort of Bordevar related things, mainly Onyx aristocracy, actually. We have the Onyx aristocracy forces retreating into Royal Bordevar. Yeah, fighting in Royal Bordevar, if it were to be attempted, will be difficult but mundane. The new fortresses that have been built on the edge of Wayland facing Royal Bordevar will not be in assistance. In attacking Royal Bordevar, I believe, but it will be, of course, be in the defense of Wayland, I believe. Probably reading it incorrectly. It's fine. But yeah, that's that situation. The other one is Vassatal. This is the plague-ridden region of Vassatal in the Greenweald. It is super fucked and dangerous. Blastostrect is a very serious threat, along with everything else in there. Along with the forces, I believe, of the Wraith of Port Gargant, Dacaran Remortis. Yeah. It is also a reality that it is not possible for Concordian armies to move in and pass through the Steinvaults to the Steinvaults. Yeah, so this kind of notes, you know, Concordian forces cannot pass through the Steinvault Pass this coming season, enter or pass, but the Boar's Head clan do not have this restriction. There will be the opportunity for Concordian forces to engage the Onyx aristocracy in a strategic conflux in this coming summit. So, you know, that's a few strategic options. It's interesting that they're actually giving us the strategic conflux options, a lot of them now, actually, through this cool way. I don't know if this has been done in the past, I don't quite remember, but this is quite cool. I like this. If men built it, then it is no refuge. Opportunities of Baleag's Holdfast. Alright, so I don't need my phone for this, at least not initially. Simple version. Baleag's Holdfast. Really, really big fortress in the Iron Valley. This is a massive cultural point. This is a super big cultural touchstone. Quite literally, it is covered with stories and tales and songs and sagas of a lot of the dead of the valley, and possibly some of the still living. This is currently held by the Elsevier and is being dismantled slowly. At this point, there are three options as listed here as an option for the Concord and the valley, I guess, in general. The first option is basically doing a regular war campaign and just going hard against the Elsevier and Baleag's Holdfast, and likely as a result will destroy Baleag's Holdfast to the point that it is unusable, and it will likely stand smashed upon the mountaintops and will be destroyed. It does mean the opportunity that it could be turned into a memorial, maybe even a sanctified area. Sorry, not sanctified area. What's the term? Holy ground. You know, holy site. Could such a thing could happen? It doesn't say it here, but I don't see why it couldn't. This is obviously one of the least desirable options. Well, it could be perceived as such. I will say this is a gut punch option. This one hurts me a lot, just because it sucks to see this sort of thing. But I was going to say it might be equal to the third option, but I don't know if it is. Yeah, the second option is Kasim, the Commandant. That's it. The Commandant of the Concordian War Chamber. has devised a weird, unorthodox plan where a couple of military forces, being armies, along with major big efforts by Concordian heroes, and both on the battlefield and in their investments, could be put forward and campaign for likely over a year, and if done, will have Belag's Holdfast return to Concordian control. I would guess it will probably need repairing. That's just kind of my guess here. It does not say. That is my guess. But it will enable us to have Belag's back, but it will require a lot of effort. It will also be using part of the makeshift sort of the siege craft that's been done in Windholm that I think is very funny. I think it's quite cool. This is obviously a big choice and a big temptation for a lot of people, especially the Valley folk. As a player, I would love this. Character and player, currently for me, this second option is very good and very cool. I think it's definitely possible that we could succeed at this. It is a hell of an effort that we could do, but the morale from it would be amazing, and the benefit from it is also very good. The other thing to consider is this is an opportunity, as a game mechanic side of things, to see unorthodox warfare in terms of like the general game mechanics and game proceedings of it to happen, which means this is something that the team can sort of test doing and then possibly maybe do in other weird ways for other things. So, that's maybe a little metagamey, maybe a little, not something to think about, but, I would like to note it. This is a big one. The last option, of course, is do absolutely nothing, let the Elsevier destroy Belag's Holdfast, but that's it. There's a lot of... I'd be very curious to hear the Valley folks' position on this one to do with these three options. I've heard some opinion already. I would definitely like to hear more, whether the character on Discord chat or in person at either the unofficial training or the final official training on the 16th of March, 2024, or at Summit. Again, in or out of character, I just think this is interesting. It's obviously a big cultural point. There is also We Are the Bloodcast Inheritors, a later Wins article I'll be doing next episode that it kind of reflects this, actually, in an interesting way. I'll bring it up then, of course. But yeah, this is a gut punch. This is a real gut punch. Belag's has been a looming situation for some time, and this really has this has put a clock to it now. The sand timer has been upturned. Decision needs to be now made, pretty much now. And I'd be very curious to see what people end up wanting to do about this in the overall sort of strategy of things. Overall, these three Wins articles paint a very tough picture. Just a lot of things that have been building up for some time. A lot of good opportunities as well. But again, so many just issues. I mean, there's always issues, right? To struggle is divine and such. But for the next episode or two, there's going to be a bit of positives. I've talked about some of the future article things here to do mainly with the couple of new titles that have been brought up and brought out, the Royal Ranger and the Concordian Consular. We'll go over other things as they arise in more detail, and I'll refer back to these as best I can. This summit's going to be a thing. Last summit already was. It was very tense. There was a lot going on, mainly with the whole thing with the big attack on Wayland in Bordevar. But this one I think is going to be very tense. I think especially for the Valley. There are reasons for Lorenomere, of course, to be tense. There are, I'm sure, going to be things for Andash to be very tense. Greenweald has got some tense things going on, of course. But as it stands, and Bordevar, naturally. But I think Iron Valley, I think things are really coming to a really big crossroads for the Valley, and I'm very curious on what they will decide to do as a people, and what they'll decide to do as individuals. I think both are going to be really interesting to see. I of course wish all 5 realms good luck at the coming summit. There is a lot to do. Yes, I'm kind of wishing myself good luck too, but I mean, I think I deserve a bit of a wishing in that regard. Yeah, I've sort of set myself a lot of things to do for the coming summit, which is good because I like having goals. Goals are good. Goals are fun. So that's it for this episode. Those are those 3 major wins articles covered and done. I will do my best to sort of get more up to date with the wins coverage, and have hopefully everything done before the Winter Summit of 2024 begins. So you kind of have my own personal takes on different things, whether or not that is something you want. Speaking of that, of wanting, if you like this kind of what I'm doing, if you enjoy it, please like, share, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It makes numbers go up. It makes my lizard brain happy. It's genuinely a solid source of positive encouragement that I really do appreciate, and I really do like, because I've really grown to enjoy doing this. It really does test me a lot of the times, as I said. A lot of the time, as I have said, this is the 3rd time I've tried to record this. And I'm constantly being tested with tech issues, software issues, scheduling stuff. There's always something going wrong, but you know, I keep pushing because I'm learning good things and putting my education to use. So if you have any suggestions for changes or other ideas I could do, even just other content ideas, like, please absolutely throw them in the comments. I really actually do want to hear them, and see if they can be something I can implement. I've got some stuff in the pipeline I would really like to do. Part of it is kind of on the way in different stages of progress. I would genuinely love to get all of those out, but a lot of it is just doing logistics and, again, more scheduling stuff. So we'll see. I've got stuff in the pipeline I'd like to do. Yes. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. I do hope you are, your preparations for the coming summit are going well. Do your best to de-stress as much as you can. Please make sure for the coming summit that you do check-ins as best you can. I think things are going to be very tense. Just across the board, there's going to be a lot of tension, as there always is. So make sure you're doing your part as best you can to sort of have stress be as low as possible. Make sure you hydrate. Make sure you eat some food. Stretch, breathe, relax as much as you can. Blink, and make good decisions. Things are getting tougher, and the only way we can do it is by staying as calm as we can and by standing together. In the sphere's light we stand. Take care, everybody, and have a really, really good day.